And we are live. Hey, everybody, it's your boy J Dub again, aka Kratos, the god of PlayStation. And I got some special guests here. If you rock out with me, then you got to rock out with my panel here. I got my boy Craig Harris. He's on the panel today. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Craig, for those that don't know who you are, but I don't even know who those people would be if they don't know who Craig Harris are.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, Craig Harris of Craig's Corner. And as a medical professional, I can officially pronounce the death of Jack Reacher. So, what's happening?
And he's dead.
Yeah.
All right. And the man that needs no introduction, he's at the top of the pile no matter what side he's on. It's my boy Supersonic Wolf. Go ahead and shout yourself out to those who's very new into gaming.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your friendly neighborhood gamer, Supersonic Wolf. Here to talk about gaming and here to talk about the positives and the negatives, and just to give you my 100% honesty on everything related to gaming. You know how it is, yo.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you once again for having me on your Godcast. It's always an honor to be there. And yeah, let's get straight to it, man.
All right. And today on this show, this is the very first episode of Kratos Underground presents the Titans of Gaming. The Titans of Gaming. Obviously, I got the Titans of the industry in here with me with Craig Harris and Supersonic Wolf. So that's how I do. I do it big.
Oh, well, thank
Well, as you guys all know, we just wrapped up E3. Whether you liked it or whether you hate it, either way, you have some kind of feeling about it. And I just want to get you guys' opinions on, whether you like the event, whether you don't like it, and what do you think about in the future where E3 is going? Do you guys think we should still have one convention such as E3, or do you think everyone should break off and do their own specialized event? Starting with you, Craig. Go ahead, man.
I enjoyed E3, what I was able to see. I was finally able to get caught up on the Nintendo conference late yesterday. It's really becoming an event that you're just going to have to start going to. I was lucky to go in 06. So, I mean, it's been a while. It's been a decade ago. But as far as them breaking off, that's what you're starting to see. That's why you did not have a whole lot of stuff at either one of these big three press conferences. You had generalized announcements, but I just personally think you need to be there. I said to several people yesterday, just imagine sitting in your living room with your TV set. Your TV set is what you see, but E3 is the size of the living room. They have all kind of stuff at E3. I mean, they've got new tech that's not going to be ready, for a year or two. They've got games in development. That's what's cool about the developers conference. So I don't mind the smaller conferences, but yeah, you're going to start seeing that. I hope they keep it. Because I enjoyed it. I gave it an overall 8.
Okay, overall 8. That's good. That's a good score. What about you, General? What did you think about the event? And what do you think about the future of E3 and gaming and the conventions that are going on?
You know what? To be perfectly honest with you, man, I enjoyed it for what it is or what it was, and it was a bit of a hit and miss at the same time. You had some publishers out there that knocked it out the ballpark, and you had others that kind of dropped the ball. And all around, everyone everyone did their E3 serving some kind of purpose, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what was being achieved from it. But all I can say from my end, as far as the big platform holders like Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, Nintendo were like the first ones to kind of back away from E3 and not go big, because they started to do their little treehouse thing, their spotlights, and these little tiny streams here and there.
Yeah.
They even went only for 25 minutes this year, and Nintendo were like the first to do it. EA kind of like separated themselves away from E3. And Activision don't even do much anymore at E3. They do their own live streams or whatever big game they unveil, whether it's Call of Duty or Destiny or anything like that. They don't do much at E3, and I think that's a good thing in a way.
Mhm.
I still want E3 to be around, but as far as like Sony might, or I think Microsoft will carry on doing E3 because I've never seen them do well. At least like in recent memory, I haven't really seen them do their own dedicated
Separate
event.
show.
Yeah, their
Exactly.
separate show that's focused as a Microsoft show. You
Yeah.
know, we've had Sony do their PlayStation meetings. I've seen Sony do their PSX events. I've seen them do Paris Games Week, Tokyo Game Show. Like they're always doing like their own thing, and that's really good for the fan base and everything.
Hmm.
But slowly but surely, I could see Sony because they didn't go too hard and too big at this year's E3. I could see them kind of backing away and really saving all the big announcements at PSX. Look what they did last year with The Last of Us 2. You know,
Yeah,
everybody
that's
would have
true.
thought that is an E3 worthy announcement. You know,
Yeah.
everyone. And apparently, well, I remember you telling me this. You were telling me that they were gonna announce their E3, but they're just like they pushed it back and they saved it for PSX.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
And as far as like Sony not going too aggressive, like we would have hoped,
Hmm.
because let's all admit they showed bangers at E3. At this year's E3, they showed nothing but great games, AAA first party bangers. That's what we saw.
Yeah.
Whether people want to say it was new, it was old, they want that many surprises. That's all subjective. But
So, mhm.
the bottom line is, I really feel like Sony. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah, we hear you just fine.
Sony just didn't want to show too much new stuff. They didn't want to go hard and show Sucker Punch's new IP or Miyazaki's new game, whether it's Bloodborne 2 or whatever, because at that point, it'll feel like to Sony and maybe to a lot of people that Sony are just competing with themselves at that point. Because
Yeah.
if you have the Last of Us 2 gameplay shown at E3, that's gonna compete with Uncharted.
Yeah.
And Neil Druckmann was absolutely correct when he was saying that, look, this is Chloe's time to shine. That's why because look, they're 2 months out
Hmm.
from releasing the Uncharted Lost Legacy. They're 2 months away from that. So
Yeah.
obviously they're gonna try shine some light on that particular game, so it
Yeah.
could gain sales and everything, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the point I was trying to make.
I hear you what you're saying. You don't
Mm.
want to release your Corvette and your high end Z01 Camaro around. You don't want them to be at the same auto show because it's just one to outshine the other. So I get what you're saying on that.
Mm.
I'll tell you what, my take on it. I thought it was a great E3. I rated a C, maybe a B minus. And you're right. Sony, they just basically, took a lot of, they did just enough to satisfy the guys and finally gave some release dates and stuff like that. And that was the biggest deal. They could have came out and announced a bunch of new games and yet had no more release dates. And they didn't do that. They have their PlayStation
Right.
experience. And I believe little by little, Sony is building up their PSX to be bigger than their E3 showing, where they eventually can stop doing E3. That's what it looks like.
Kratos, you are giving me goosebumps right now thinking
Yeah,
about this.
yeah.
Because if they're looking to go all out on PSX, man, I love it even more, man. I'm all
Think
for it.
about it. E3, I mean, E3, you pay all of this exorbitant amount of money. And guys, this is why a lot of companies like Activision and a lot of other companies, this is why they stopped doing E3. They stopped doing E3 like that because the amount of money that they pay was not worth the feedback. They already know Call of Duty is going to sell. They know that game is a shoo-in. So why would they go and spend $1 million, $2 million, millions and millions of dollars setting up something that they know is already going to sell 5, 6, 7 million? It's Call of Duty. It is what
Yeah.
it is. And there are
And I
other
think
IPs the same way.
But why would you, but then again, why would you want to throw your game in there or a bunch of your games in there when you got all these other publishers out there throwing in their games and just to get the attention of the consumer and the gamer.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to do your own separate event away from all of that, where you gain all that mind share?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense. December, there ain't that much going on during that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see EA do anything, or Activision, or Ubisoft, or Microsoft. I don't see any of them, or Nintendo do anything during that time. And for Sony to do their own event at that time, it's absolutely perfect, because that's all you're going to see trend on social media. That's all you're going to see trend on any kind of media, period.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. So, Craig, tell me this, man. Were you happy with Microsoft's showing? Were you, are you indifferent? Were you happy? Do you think they did what the best that they could do?
Or, here's been the big problem, the issue that Microsoft solved, and people just aren't looking at it correctly. One of the main things that they've been criticized on, correctly, I might add, is they have not had a whole lot of diverse games on their console. They got criticized for it, and they got criticized for power, and we joke about it, but ultimately that really hit home. So they came out and they tried to say, okay, and Phil Spencer the last 6 weeks has said he's been talking about multi-plat games. That's what he has physically been tweeting. He's been saying it during press conferences and interviews that they do with them, the short stuff. So with that said, if you're going to look at Microsoft and say, now they have a diverse lineup of games. And then they also have multi-plats. Now, I know people are going to say, well, they don't have a lot of exclusives. That's the drawback. That's part of what, but they're trying to do addition by subtraction. I'm interested to see if it works. It's unfortunate that, we saw a game, Forza, that we already knew was going to look stunning because we saw it, when they did their demo. We saw a game at the end, Anthem, that's not going to be out for, 2 more years, And again, the game looks stunning.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, but in between, people were mocking him. And I'm like, all right, guys, look, they're showing you a bunch of diverse games. None of those games look anything like the game that followed it. So people can no longer say they don't have a diverse lineup. Now we can argue about the price. Versus that was the problem with the Microsoft conference. It's okay, 5 bones for multi-plat games. They're going to not only be on another console that's cheaper, but on a PC and possibly run better. Now that's the problem. That's a consumer problem. It's not a Microsoft problem. It's a consumer problem. What do you do as a consumer? And that's the big question.
That's true. I definitely agree with that. Microsoft's strategy seems to be, hey, we're not going to spend any money. We don't want to spend much money on games. We're just going to kind of ride out with the multi-plats. We have a powerful console, and it should run better than on the PlayStation, so the fans will flock. I think the only people they're talking to are the upset Xbox fans that they currently have, with the guys who have been, upset with the Xbox One and the Xbox One S. I think those are the only guys who this Xbox One X is targeted towards. And with that being said, that means, you're only looking at a 26 million install base. That's a small, even if all 26 million of those guys went out and bought an Xbox One, you still haven't grown your install base. You're still sitting at 26 million.
Yeah, very quick. And let me not to interrupt you there before Wolf jumps in, because I know he's wanting to get in. I'm saying you're looking at a hardcore fact of the numbers that hit Jack Reacher in his face. One, I think we all have 4K TVs. That puts us in the 10% range of TV owners in the United States.
Fact.
So when you take that and you add the fact that even in PC it's even a lesser adoption rate. So that is really starting to hit home. Also, that the TV does the upscaling for you.
Yeah.
You have an Xbox One S. This is what I was saying the other day. It doesn't matter what game I put in there. I can put Witcher 3 in there right now, and it will upscale it on my TV as close to 2160p as it can get there. There's not going to be a native picture, but and I heard you shout out Rand Thor earlier, and he flat said the same thing. Yeah, when you put the game in there, it looks better because the technology's better.
Yeah.
And it's really starting to dawn on these guys that these games are not going to be. I'm not trying to overtalk here. 4K 60. Are you crazy? Digital Foundry couldn't get Star Wars Battlefront to run 4K 60 with a 1080. They struggled. So they went down to 1440, which I've always said, and Kratos, I've heard you and Sonic, there's your sweet spot. Yeah, 1440p at 60, which, hey, guess what? We have PlayStation Pros. We already have that.
Exactly.
That's already here for us. So, it's just it's unfortunate that these numbers are now hitting them in the face. And that's what we're seeing happen. You guys mentioned in the earlier them taking that stupid thing out of their name, and they had Ryzen in their names, stuff like that. Welcome to reality. Sometimes it's hard. Shout out to De La Soul with that one.
Well, with that being said, today has been pretty it's been pretty busy on Twitter. I noticed that it's really quiet. I'm hearing crickets when it comes to the Xbox guys and the guys with the purple M's in their name. They've been really quiet today, and I wondered why. Well, come to find out, their almighty powerful Scorpio doesn't seem to be as powerful as they thought it would be. Here it is. Digital Foundry came out and they started using terms blurry. They started using terms like checkerboard and dynamic, words that you do not want to see after you spent the last 2 to 3 years talking about Beast and 4K and just 4K 60 uncompromised and all kind of stuff. So now the crow is going to have to be eaten. And there's a lot of shout out to Jimmy B Gaming. He did a little video basically stating the obvious. Oh man, he was speaking the truth. The problem is, Craig and Wolf, we've been saying this for over a year. We've been telling these guys, you need to humble yourself. You don't know what this thing is going to be able to do. The biggest thing is it turned out it didn't have Ryzen and Vega in it. That should have been another clue for them to shut up and just enjoy and let's see what they get. But now you have this debacle where this game can't run 4K 60. They've already announced like 5 games that are already sitting at checkerboarded up to 4K that's running at 30 frames, which we've already been playing that on the Pro for 6-7 months already. So now you're gonna charge me $100 more than the Pro. It came out a year later than the Pro, and now I'm gonna get the same freaking games and the same graphics and no exclusives. Wolf, what do you think about that, man? What do you think about that? If you were to the average Xbox guy who's been waiting on greatness, what do you say to them? How do you talk to them?
I'll just ask him a simple question: was it really worth the wait? You are overhyping this thing like it was God's gift to gaming. Like God Himself made this console. It's a great console. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful looking console, very sleek, really premium looking. But that like I said, just based off of that and based on the specs, that's not a reason to go out and buy the console. It's always about the software. It's always about the exclusives.
Facts.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, man. It's hard to justify, making that purchase because we already had the Pro out there in the market for, it's going to be a year, right? By the time the Scorpio drops. So, we've already had this same type of box that plays the same type of games at the same kind of, graphical fidelity and same settings and everything. So, you got checkerboard rendering and checkerboard 4K and dynamic 4K games right now, currently on the PlayStation, and you also have native 4K games on the PlayStation 4 Pro. But for you to wait a whole entire year for the same thing with no exclusive, like little to none exclusives, or little to no exclusives, it's really hard to justify that purchase, man. But I know, the type of people who would go out and buy it will be like the tech junkies, the Xbox enthusiasts. There won't be a whole lot of people, that's gonna rush out and buy this console. I just cannot see it. The consoles that will sell will be the Xbox One S.
Facts.
Yeah. At $199, I'm not gonna lie. Come holiday season, people are gonna get their hands on that, and they're just gonna run with it. They're gonna save that money and go buy a crap load of games. I mean, there's that's a big difference. That's a $300 difference. You know
It's
how many games,
sell,
how many Xbox One games you can buy? How many old Xbox 360 games you can buy? How many original Xbox OG games you can buy with $300? So you're gonna, you're competing. You're gonna have to compete with your own systems, and you want people to go out and buy the latest and the greatest. So I don't know. What you think, Craig?
Well, let me give him a shout out. I mean, because when they did announce, it was kind of, you're happy and sad at the same time. When Microsoft announced that they were going to start doing the OG Xbox games, let me just be honest with you. I smiled ear to ear. I'm like, wow, we'll get possibly games like Knights of the Old Republic and the entire Splinter Cell series, up to whatever Double Agent, I think, was the first one on the 360. So, okay, that's great news. I mean, I don't think anybody's disappointed in that. With that said, however, that's not enough for me to go buy the Xbox X. And also with the Xbox S is in small or Snake or Slim, it's gonna do it anyway. People did not, and shout out to Widowmaker. That's my brother from another mother. But these guys just did not understand how the tech works. They don't understand it. And I didn't understand it. That's why Kratos, you coming on has really helped me. It's really, pulled me to the side. Like, all right, I got to look at how this stuff really works from start to finish and not just be happy with the finishing product. But I think you got a lot of hurt. You got a lot of hurt feelings out there is what you got. I guess what? Nobody from the Xbox community that I have seen is talking about games.
No, it's not.
Nintendo guy is the Spider-Man trailer. Who didn't like the Spider-Man gameplay and trailer? How could you not?
Yo, Craig.
Yeah.
One more thing about Spider-Man. Miles Morales is going to be in that game.
Yeah, they showed the footage where he turned around. He was holding the camera and he turned around. They showed his face and everything, his character inside the game. So
yeah, that's interesting because that's Peter Parker's suit. Because Miles' suit is, it's black where Peter's is blue.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't know. And that, like I said, look, that looked like something you see at a movie theater with an in cut scene with Miles Morales. So shout out to those guys. And that's why I've said to people, look, I was told about 4 hours before their presser that Sony was going to pull some stuff back. But we got Days Gone gameplay, I'm sorry, for Days Gone, which sold the game to me. Because I just, from what I saw from that alpha footage to what I just saw, because I'm a big fan of the movie World War Z. I've always said zombies should move just like that. Just move faster than normal, And so that to me was fantastic. But the Spider-Man thing, that really, I was like, wow, But our point is that, what? We're talking about games. Granted, they're not coming out. The Xbox community is still doing damage control. That's how bad the press conference was for them.
Craig.
Their own press conference.
Craig, the best way I could put it is that Sony showed games that made me say, I'm going to go out and buy this game. I'm going to go out and buy that game. They sold me on a lot of games that they showed. Microsoft, at their press conference, they sold me on games that I really want to play, and the games I want to play are multiplats that I can play on the Pro. Something like Anthem, something like Metro. I guess another one where I'm really happy and really excited about is Ori, and I can play that on PC. But if I do buy an Xbox in the future, that remains to be seen. But that was the only announcement that made me go, yeah, yo, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
I had a little cheer in me. I'm like, yay! But like, I was waiting for the bangers.
Well, let me. They showed a lot of the games. Not to interrupt you there, Kratos.
No, go ahead.
The Sony press conference. They had a pre-press conference, and a lot of people, I guess, just didn't watch it. But they showed Gran Turismo. They showed Nino Kuni 2. They showed what was the other? They showed Knack.
All the VR stuff.
Yeah, they showed it. So it's just like a lot of people didn't watch it. Because people were like, that's the first thing I heard is, well, they didn't show Gran Turismo. I'm like, well, yeah, they showed it in the 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah. An hour before the show, they started off showing you nothing but games. They showed you about 50 VR games. I mean, I don't get it. Yeah, some people didn't check in, but at the end of the day, Spider-Man, God of War, Days Gone, those were enough to win them the conference. If you want to look at who had the best show, those are just two games you're not going to get anywhere else. The titles, those titles are so big in the community and everywhere else, it's ridiculous. Now, the next topic I want to get to is quality versus quantity. And does it matter if you overload your console with a bunch of trash titles versus a small number of really good quality ones that are, winning accolades and selling 5 and 6 million and 3 million copies? Does it really matter? Because it seems like Sony's approach is we're going to do both. We're going to flood the market with good quality games, and we're also just going to kill you and overload you with the juggernauts. We do have to realize not every game is going to be a huge AAA Spider-Man game. That's just unrealistic. And to tell you the truth, a lot of people, just don't game like that. There's a lot of people with really high gamer scores that only play a lot of indie titles. They shy away from the big blockbuster titles. So, which one would you guys rather have? Would you have a combination of both, or would you rather have, just a crap load of games, but they're not kind of up to par, but it's a bunch of them? Or would you guys would rather have a handful of big blockbuster juggernauts? Go ahead, Wolf.
You know what? I would rather have a combination of all, right? Because when it comes down to it, Sony have the juggernauts. They have the bangers, AAA blockbuster bangers that are critically acclaimed, 90 plus Metacritic, sells millions upon millions of copies, right? Over 5, sometimes even over 10. That is Sony for you, and that's what you're gonna get if you buy a PlayStation or PlayStation 4 or the Pro, for that matter. But you know what? They bring out high quality indie games. They really know how to pick the right indie games. They've had some great bangers when it comes down to indies too. They got a lot of indie support. They got great third party support. They're always first choice when it comes down to third party and everything. And then you got VR and everything. On top of that.
Yeah.
So it's all about variety. It's all about having a combination of all. And Sony just seemed to have that. They have quality and quantity, and I wish I could say that about the other console,
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah. Craig, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I prefer a hybrid. I mean, with the, I don't have it. Again, I can't, because can I really diss the Nintendo press conference? They announced some cool games. And again, if you got the Switch, obviously you're getting the support now. So the people that went out and bought it, that's a good presser. People can mock Nintendo, but can't nobody touch. I mean, Nintendo's been around since the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to just bow your head to those guys. Congratulations to them. The hybrid conferences. The PlayStation VR you brought up. If you were an early adopter, Sony's throwing their weight behind PlayStation VR. You're getting some good looking titles, on that. So those people should be happy. So, yeah, I'd rather have, like Wolf said, you got to have some bangers. I admit, I agree with you, Kratos. There wasn't any surprises. There was no Bloodborne 2. There was no. But when did they ever? Nobody ever said there would be a Bloodborne 2. There was no official site that said it. There were a bunch of people saying, "Oh yeah, I would love to see it." But so I think that led to the overall kind of like and the release dates. Let's just keep it a stack here. A lot of those release dates in 2018 that threw a lot of people, but. Really, when I'm seeing these games, and shout out to PlayStation, they showed a game running on the OG PS4. Like, hey, we didn't forget about you guys. So
exactly.
So yeah, I prefer the hybrid conference. And I'm glad that it was short. That's the one thing I think people aren't used to. At least, but like we said, Sony's conference was an hour and a half, 2 hours long, just not their main floor show. So
exactly.
So shout out to those guys for doing that.
But here's the thing, Craig. So not to cut you off, Craig, I just want to chime in. You know what? You cannot judge an E3 press conference just based off the conference alone.
Facts.
Because look, they have the pre-show, the after-show, the extra 15 hours of live streaming where they make other announcements and everything. Like, you got to focus on all of that, not just the 1 hour conference. That same thing with Xbox. They have their little daily shows, and during that, they make other announcements like DLC for Halo Wars 2 or whatever. But last year, they also announced the game. I remember the Phantom Dust announcement during that show. So, you saw other games from Sony outside of the press conference, like The City of Final Fantasy, like Craig was saying, GT Sports, Ni no Kuni 2. There was a whole lot of them. Exactly. A lot of indies, a lot of VRs, a combination of everything, and that's what's important, man.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let me ask you guys this. On to the next subject. Phil Spencer. Today has been kind of rough for him. He's been saying some things that have been just out of left field, and you kind of question where's his mind at right now. But basically, he says the PS4 Pro is not in the same league as the Xbox One X. It's in the same league as the Xbox One S.
Okay.
What the hell does that mean? That's crazy. Go ahead, Craig.
Well,
I don't want you
let me chime in. I didn't know he said that. So I saw where you, and shout out to you. I saw where you sent that. I just didn't get a chance to open it yet. I was still blown away by the other one you sent about the 24/7 article, and go check the article out.
We're definitely gonna talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. I've said for the last, I guess, almost year or 7 months, the Xbox, and Kratos, you said this too. The Xbox One S and the Pro came out like 68 days apart. They are the same thing. Yeah, it's just Sony did it. They had more. It did a little bit better. They both do 4K upscaling. They both stream 4K native. You can argue the Xbox S with the UHD player, Blu-ray in it. Yeah, that's something. If you want to consume that type of media, that's fine. But I just think what happened is Phil Spencer got back to Redmond, and he did not get a good reaction. From the shareholders, because I usually when a company the size of a Microsoft or an Apple or whatever, Google, when they announce new hardware hitting the market, their stock price goes up. That's just a fact. That's just the way everybody knows that. Okay. Microsoft's went down. So obviously the shareholders they don't think this thing's going to do as well as Jack Reacher said it was going to do. So, and I just think, I don't know why somebody who is the head of a major part of a corporation gives a damn openly what his competitor does. It really makes me question he's really sweating to the oldies here. I honestly, I'll make a prediction this time next year. Phil Spencer will not be at Microsoft. He's going to go the way of a Peter Moore. He's just going to go somewhere else, into the other it'll still be in gaming because he's a gamer, but he could go run. Maybe him and Casey Hudson start their own damn company.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that would be great because Casey works at Microsoft as well. So
today there's a lot of people calling for his head. They said he is not the leader that they thought he was going to be after these comments. And there was a poll, and in the poll, the majority of the people, I think there was like 200 people that polled that voted. They thought he should go ahead and step aside and let somebody else come and do that. Not to cut you off, Wolf, but we had that incident of him saying that, and then on top of this, they asked him about the whole, basically he said that when they questioned him about 60 frames per second in 4K, he basically sidestepped and said that, people don't really care about 60 frames and 60 frames. It's not that important. They don't really understand.
Wow.
And and the first thing you just think about it is like, is this guy kidding me? The whole company, Aaron Greenberg, Phil Spencer, and the rest of the guys, the executives, every day, all day, talked about 4K 60. And now you're going to say that it's not that important because you've been exposed by Digital Foundry and everybody else? I mean, seriously?
Jack Reacher did this to them.
Wolf, what do you think about that? Real quick, just tell me, what are your thoughts about that?
First of all, I'm just going to go out and say, shout out to Phil, first of all. Me and him are mad cool, and I like the dude. I think he's a great dude. He's a great person. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to your job, you have to deliver. You've been touting this console as the most powerful console ever made. 4K 60, 4K textures, 4K assets, everything, right? They've been bragging, they've been boasting about power, this and that, but then as soon as we hear all that stuff from Digital Foundry, because you sent me the link on the whole Assassin's Creed thing. Yeah. I was at work that time. Yeah. So you sent me the link, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, man!" That just made me feel a certain way, man. Because you got some nerve, right? Trying to sell this console for $500, and he does the same thing as the Pro.
It's a $300 machine.
Yeah, it's got the Ultra, 4K Blu-ray drive. Yeah, all right, I give it that. But it shouldn't be that much more expensive than the Pro. I'll be perfectly honest, man. Maybe it should be like 400 or 450, but no more, man. It shouldn't be more than 450. But for them to ask for 500, and for him to say 60 frames per second is not important.
Yeah.
See, that was a topic, right? For him to say 60 frames, look, the Xbox is, I don't know, it's more of a multiplayer console, right? Because that's what it focuses on. It's more of an esports console for shooters or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's what they try to push out there, right? It's multiplayer stuff, multiplayer content. When it comes down to the Halo, the Gears, the Forzas, and whatever, any other multiplayer, the Killer Instincts and everything. If you're going around saying 60 frames per second is not important, man, that's just that, like you said, man, that's just absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Yeah, you're right.
I disagree with what you said there about 60 frames.
Yeah.
But then again, on the flip side, you got big games like that. See, I'm going to give him a little bit of a benefit of a doubt, right, on this one, right? Yeah. Because you do have big games like Red Dead Redemption, Destiny, GTA, and those are the juggernauts. Those are the games that sell the most, and they're not even 60 frames per second. So maybe he probably meant, when he meant that, I guess he was kind of referring to, games like that. That's why people don't care about 60 frames. But who knows, man?
No, I mean, according to him, I mean, to me, just common sense, guys. Shout out to Savage Uger, saying Microsoft's true 4K is exactly the same thing as Sony's dynamic 4K. And we've all on this panel and in the comment section, shout out to all you guys. We've all been telling guys this exact same thing. This exact same thing. And now for Digital Foundry to come out and debunk all of that and And it seems they kind of walked back all the positive talking that they talked about originally when they were sitting in Microsoft's headquarters with
Yeah, but
with the shotgun behind them.
but trust me, yo, Kratos, could you blame Richard Ledbetter, man? This was the biggest scoop of his life. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
This practically made his career. So obviously, as a journalist and somebody who does like, tech analysis, this is huge for him. So obviously, he's gonna hype it up. He's gonna hype this thing up so he could get all the clicks and everything, right?
Yeah.
But then when the thing is already out and everything's already unveiled,
Yeah.
then he'll have to go deep and then just go with the truth. You know, it is
Yeah.
basically a PlayStation 4 Pro, just a little bit more expensive. You probably won't see that much difference with the games. I don't know. Maybe it may have a little bit of extra sampling. I don't know, but it will still
Mhm.
use checkerboard rendering. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and sparse rendering and dynamic. I mean, I'm blown away. I mean, Phil Spencer really came out and said, and Kratos, how many times have I said, and you've heard other people, it's me, 30 frames per second on a console is what they're going to go for.
Exactly.
Period. If you want 60 or higher, buy and game on PC where you can just go. Bungie's game Destiny 2 is what 100 frames per second. If you want it on PC, that's where you go. If you are a frames per second.
Could I just ask you all a question? Yeah, both you and Kratos, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think this would have been a good idea, right? And do you think this would have worked out if Microsoft, at default, have the Jaguar, Evolve Jaguar, whatever you want to call it, custom Jaguar inside the Scorpio, but then have this way where you can actually change the CPU and have it upgraded to a Ryzen, but you're gonna have to buy it yourself. Do you think that would have been a great way? Like you could upgrade your console if you really want to. The option is there.
Nah. I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you now because if a person wanted to upgrade a component inside of their hard drive minus the hard drive, that's something that's, that all the consoles have, and they've been having it for, ever since last generation. Even before when the PlayStation 2 had the hard drives you could pop in. So we're going to take that out. But if people wanted to do all of that, if they wanted to go inside, they would get a PC. And that's part of the problem. The reason why people don't want to get a PC is because they don't have time to install drivers and plug things in and open it up and do all of this crap. If they wanted to do that, they would get a PC. But they don't. They want something cheap, something that the kids can't tear up, something that they don't have to worry about. It's good for 5, 6, 7 years before they have to replace it. That's just what it is. Now back to what you said. You had a great idea, Wolf, and I thought about that when you were talking about the whole esports thing. What if Microsoft would have made this system and just marketed it as a esports machine? It only runs multi-plats anyway. They don't have any exclusives. So you could sell it as the esport machine. You can go into competitions and compete with this Xbox One X. And
But here's the problem.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Not to cut you off, I do apologize. Here's the problem. The majority of the multi-plats out there, when it comes down to esports and the competitive scene, it's all being played on PlayStation. Most of the fighters, like Mortal Kombat, like Tekken, Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, that's all going to be played on PlayStation.
Blaze
right?
Blue, all of
the
that.
Call of Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear. Then you got the Call of Duty. All of that's being played on PlayStation with the competitive scene. Sony are funding that too, that the whole Call of Duty tournaments and stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
So how could you possibly sell the Xbox One X as an esports console? Maybe for their exclusives, yes, but I don't think so much for their multiplats.
Okay.
Well, I'm still blown away that he said that because it's. I'm really trying to find the words here. I understand what he's saying. So shout out, but because but man, oh man, if he said that, I assume he said that. That's bad for the fanboy who said all this junk about everything being 4K native, 60 FPS.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just because Lord, because I've always 1440p is your sweet spot, people. Now, as far as the Xbox, what I would have done is I would have set those guys down and said, okay, guys, we don't need 6 T-flops to do 1440p, and then let the television do the upscaling. Build a kick-ass upscaler in there and say, okay, no matter what, we're going to upscale from 1440p. The TV does it for us anyway. We're going to target 1400p, 60, and I guarantee you the machine launches at the worst, like Wolf said, at the worst, 44999. There was a reason why they came out. It's about the fanboys were like, it's going to be $399. It's going to be $399 because they knew $499 was a trigger. Yeah. Which is an automatic consumer trigger of not no, but hell no. You know, and I don't, even with the trade-in, and shout out to you, Kratos. You said what at GameStop, the Xbox One S is trading in at $75.
$75, yeah.
Is that in-store credit or is that just straight cash?
That was in-store credit.
That's bad. I mean, that's bad. So let's just keep it 100 here, guys. That's bad. So
after that announcement, I mean, that's why before they come out with a new console, at least a couple of days before, you guys need to go and trade in your old stuff. Because if not, that value is going to go down as soon as they announce that console.
Yeah.
Facts. Well, I don't know, man. This has not been a good week for Microsoft. I thought the conference was okay. They could have redeemed themselves. Even if they would have brought a bunch of indies, if they would have just brought a bunch of indie games and just showed 20 minutes straight, they can say, yeah, we're working on this. It would have filled up the stage with games that are theirs, not stuff that, I could say, hey, I like this game here. I like that game here. I'm going to pick that up on the Pro when it comes out. That's basically what happened. People were window shopping.
Well, they did show indies. The problem is that they weren't, shout out to Wolf because he made a good point when he said, they weren't their games. They weren't exclusives.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's okay to have indies. That's perfectly fine. But make them exclusive to your platform. Even if it's just a timed exclusive, make it exclusive. You got to sell this damn thing to me. Like you said, Kratos, I got $500. Come sell me your device. And at the end of the day, they weren't able to do that. Like I've been saying before, people would ask me whether I want to see Sony's E3. I said, I need to see gameplay of Spider-Man. I need to see gameplay of Days Gone and Detroit Become Human. Those are the 3 games I needed to see gameplay on. And when I saw it, I'm like, all right, I'm good. This is what I was wanting to see,
That fulfilled your obligation, of what you asked for.
Yet everything else, I'll just go find out. I mean, it's not like I can't go see Gran Turismo. Am I going to buy it? Yeah, I'm going to buy it. Does it look like Forza? No. But I've been playing all the Gran Turismos. But with that said, I'm not disappointed with the Xbox because I've always thought 4K 30. I never thought that was a dirty word. I mean, you would think these guys somebody was saying the N-word or something like that to their faces. It's just, but there's nothing wrong with 4K 30, guys. But for them, it was a bad word because and shout out to Hard 8 because he said it's never been about games. It's just been about bragging rights. And
that's true.
And that's what it's always been about. So them saying that it was about the games, I call bullshit on all those guys. All of them. So
I agree. Well, guys, I mean, I think we tackled the big stuff. I mean, where does, I just want to know, where does Microsoft go from here? With the Nintendo's shocked, and I'm just appalled that they had it in them to deliver the games that they had. And these games are coming out this year. And some are coming out next year. Games that I didn't know that they were working on, and they showed them. They showed gameplay and trailers and stuff like that. I still say Nintendo is Microsoft's biggest competitor. They started early. They launched their console in March, and they predicted to have sold 20 million copies by the end of the year. Let that sink in. Before the Xbox One S has sold one single console. These guys are looking to have, 17, 18, 19, 20 million consoles out in the wild. And then they're going to finish the year with, they're going to finish the year with the Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
That's enough right there, guys. To people are going to go at holiday time. We all know the casuals and the kids. Yeah. They save up for the tax saving season and holiday season, the Black Fridays and stuff like that. When people walk in that store, they're going to be looking for deals. They're not going to be looking to spend $500 and not have any money left for games. And I get it. You can play all your old games, but what if these guys don't have Xbox Ones? To tell you the truth, a lot of them don't. So the Xbox One S, yes, it's going to continue to sell at $199, but even at $199 is, it's, I don't know. The thing has been on the market for 4 years, guys, and people are just not really. They just never gravitated towards it because, and I think roughly we can all agree, because of the lack of software. You can have a high-end rig, but if you don't have any games to play on it, it's useless.
It's been a horrible ride for them, right? Because along the way, they had to close down studios, they had to cancel games, and then, having a poor showing, with certain games like Crackdown that took them so long to actually show, and then showing Sea of Thieves 3 years running. It will leave someone like me a little bit concerned. That's why I'm a little concerned. Now, as far as like Nintendo, because I know you were just talking about Nintendo, they had a really strong showing. That was like the best 25 minutes I saw in a very long time. They announced,
Metroid 4.
Their bangers.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to say about Metroid 4, like showing a title screen doesn't do anything for me. If you're gonna unveil a game, you gotta unveil a game properly. If Microsoft wanted to, but here's the thing: if Microsoft wanted to, they could have done the same thing. Show a title screen of any IP that they're working on, because we know they're working on something, right?
But I don't know why they didn't. I don't know why they didn't.
But here's the thing: stuff like that doesn't get people excited, dude. It is what it is. Now, look, the whole thing with the Metroid thing, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
I'm not really excited because I didn't see anything besides a screen that said Metroid Prime 4. Maybe it's only me, but that's just the way I feel about the situation.
Yeah.
And then you had the other dude that was talking about Pokemon Tournament, saying that, yeah, we're working on a new Pokemon RPG. Now, saying something like that doesn't mean anything to me unless you show me something. Anybody can say anything, you know what I'm saying? To me, like I said, it don't mean shit. But hey, that's just me though, man.
Yeah. Well, and the only reason again is because it's about knowing that your future is bright. People like to know that I have something to look forward to. People like to look forward to something. This, it doesn't have to be revealed to them, but if you have this list of games, hey, we have this, we have that, we have this and that, and when they show and all the companies do it, when they show you that title screen that has all the list of games that they have or the studios that's being developed, all their logos, even though yes, these are the developers that are on board and committed to making a game for your platform. This stuff is 3 and 4 years away. Fine. But seeing that knows that people are on board. If you just show a title screen with 2 people, with EA and and Square Enix, and people are gonna say, this is it. These are all the people that have bid onto this thing. I mean, people are gonna be concerned. So, as a big Metroid fan, me just knowing that they're working on one is A-okay with me. That was brownie points. They showed a little bit of Kirby. I didn't even know that they were working on that. That's more brownie points. Kudos.
Yoshi.
Yoshi. They actually showed some of the. I mean, these are games that I just really didn't know. I just kind of figured they were going to have the couple of games like the ARMS, the Splatoon 2, and at the end of the year, the FIFA, and then they're going to wrap it up with Mario. But no, they showed that there's about probably another 10 games that are going to be released this year in 2017. I'm okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kratos. I'm sorry, brother.
No, I was done. I was just saying I'm okay with that.
Well, and what that shows you is that they've hit their target marks, and they probably got ahead of themselves as far as where they wanted to be, and they greenlit these other titles.
Yeah,
they probably told them, look, we'll just hold these back, and if we got to hit some benchmarks with this, and that's great. I mean, and again, if you are an early adopter, this lets you know you're going to have support now.
Yes,
these games are going to be coming. They're being worked on, so and that's going to send more people out. Oh, Yoshi, this is, that's what you want. Fine, maybe now we'll see a Donkey Kong. Maybe next year I get my Donkey Kong.
Exactly.
So that's what we need. That's and once that game hits, it will just be Nintendo's back. But and Pokemon or something like that. So, but let me answer your other question.
Mm-hmm.
About where does Microsoft go from here? This won't take long.
No, go ahead.
What it's going to take, honestly, and I'm willing to do this, is that these guys and girls that were Jack Reacher no longer be the mainstream voice of Xbox. It's going to take a group effort of people who have Xbox, who have realistic expectations. Again, I didn't have a problem with Xbox's press conference because Phil Spencer had said, hey, this is the best place to play multi-plat games. He's been saying that for about a month and a half. So, okay, I got the message. Okay, I got the message. That's what it's going to be. And like Wolf just said, that's what we got.
That's what
you got a multi-plat gaming device. The argument now is where do they go from here? So I just say the people who have Xboxes, you can start doing Xbox podcasts and just keep it simple. Yeah. Hey, look, we're going to talk about it realistically and not on some and fanboy out about it a little bit because like Wolf said, opening statement, it's an impressive kit. It looks good. It looks sexy. It's very small. So as a piece of tech, it needs to be championed.
Yeah.
To put that much power in that small a spot, it not explode. So with that said, however, it's just where do they go? They're going to have to go as far as we are willing to carry them.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to go ahead and keep it 100% about the Xbox. I'm not going to bash it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to fanboy over it either. And those guys that are doing that, that's why Twitter is crickets, and you can hear that ribbit over on that side. If you want to call it that, you can hear it because it's hitting them in their face that but all this crap that they've talked, the beast is coming. I said that to my girl about 10 times last night. So, putting t-shirts out, put it on it, and like out to we were talking about creepy pictures with them with something called a SOC in their mouth. What's wrong with these people?
I know, man. And these are executives, Craig. These are the executives. These are not just the fanboys of the community. These are executives. And this is why I say they create that atmosphere of toxicity and craziness. They create that. They feed that thinking that it's good, but it's not. They don't realize people are not laughing with them. People are laughing at them.
Yeah, and if it's true, Sony puts out 70 to 78 million consoles this by the end of the year, and Nintendo's at 20 million. That's 100 million consoles out in the world before the Scorpio even before it hits, it gets born.
Yeah.
So what the hell is going on with those guys over there? Why would you think that the market of 10% is going to carry a console like that?
Well, I've always said,
Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher. Well, I've always said that Microsoft had this fake it until you make it mentality, and I guess they're going to continue on with that. I wish them the best of luck to Phil, Aaron Greenberg, and Major Nelson and the rest of those guys. I'm gonna get your console, but I'm getting it because I get everything. But I am not everybody. I wish you guys luck. I hope your strategy works. And we're just going to leave it at that. I thank you guys for joining me on this podcast on the Titans of Gaming E3 Wrap Up Edition. All you guys in the comment section, thank you for chatting with us. We hear you, we see you, we correspond with you, and we want to thank you guys for rocking out with us. We hope we gave you some valuable information on our opinions. And we look to see you next time. Craig, go ahead and shout yourself out, man.
Oh, well, man, I appreciate being here, being part of the panel. Always love talking games with you guys and stuff going on in the industry. So a big shout out to you, Supersonic Wolf, man. Thanks for coming by. Always a pleasure. Like I said, open invitation on my podcast. Just anytime you see me on, you feel like jumping on. I don't care if it's just for 10 minutes. Please come on. I always respect your opinion. And Kratos, man, like I said, I can't stop bragging about you, all the stuff that you're willing to do, and you keeping it 100. And looking forward to seeing you on your first game on the PlayStation. Be the first time I play a God of War game.
Exactly. Exactly. Thanks.
So yeah, Craig Harrison, Craig's Corner. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Yeah. You guys make sure you go and subscribe to these guys, Supersonic Wolf and Craig over at Craig's Corner. Thank you guys for rocking out with me. I know it's a brand new channel. This is my third video. Actually, I did a quick 30-minute Godcast earlier, and I decided to bring some of the big titans of the industry in here, the titans of YouTube.
Oh man,
with the general of anything, he commands and he leads, and that's how we got our personas and we do stuff like that. It's all in fun. It's all about the love of gaming. It doesn't matter if you have an Xbox, Nintendo, or PlayStation. Buy games, support your developers, and support your this is your hobby of choice. Support them, whether you like it or not, whether it's something for you or not. Just support it. And I thank you guys for rocking out with me. And we're about to be out of here. Thanks again. Godspeed. God bless. Have a good one.